to an incompletion and a penalty, and you're stuck in your own territory.
Hutton with a low end-over-end kick. Takes a high bounce for Toomer. And a great play on the open field prevents Toomer from getting into Eagle territory. That was Sylvester Wright. A 51-yard kick by Hutton. This game is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the expressed written consent of the New York Giants and the National Football League is strictly prohibited. No score, first quarter. Nearly 4 minutes have gone by. The Giants with a first down on their 47. They go to Hampton. Hampton breaks the tackle, maybe two of them, and gets nearly 8 yards on the play. Ray Farmer, the rookie linebacker, finally brings him down.
See Rodney Hampton, and you watch the first series and they're throwing. You know, what they want to be able to do is stay out of third and long. And the way to do that is with your running back, Rodney Hampton. Now, Hampton is best between the tackles. The difference between Hampton and Wheatley really is speed. It's not magic. It's not that little quickness and stuff inside. This guy has a great feel for running between the tackles.
Had a season's best of 82 yards against the Vikings 2 weeks ago. Second down and 3. Again, it's Hampton, and Hampton has the first down. Just close to the 40-yard line. Taylor and Willis that time for Philadelphia.
Now, you talk about Rodney Hampton, you really do yourself a disservice if you don't talk about Charles Way as fullback. Especially when they come into this set and you have the two tight ends and you have the back. And Charles Way right there, he really is the key, because they'll use him as a tackle, they'll use him as a fullback in leads, they'll pull him, they'll put him all over the place, and he's the blocker that Hampton follows.
First down, Giants. And the pitch to Hampton. Way blocking. And Hampton picks up nearly 5 yards. And once again, Charles Way was up ahead blocking for him.
Yeah, I think, you know, you look at the game plan, it says, follow the way. I mean, it's that simple. And you just find number 30. Now, these last 3 plays, every place Charles Way has gone, that's where Rodney Hampton has gone. And so that becomes a key. Not a big key, but one key. And now what they'll do after this is they will counter. They'll sell Charles Way one way, and Hampton will come back the other.
Way made a good block on Farmer. It'll bring up second down and 5 on the Eagle 35. Again, they go to Hampton, and Hampton will be shy by about 1.5 yards. James Willis that time. Pickup of 3 yards. Hampton, the leading rusher for the Giants, coming in averaging just under 3.5 yards per carry. That's what he's done so far today.
Yeah, he's at 5.5 right now. And again, he's just following Charles Way. Again, they did the same thing. And so what the New York Giants are saying is this: we are going to control the football. We're going to try to avoid third and long. Now you have third and short. We're going to give our quarterback the best possible situation to work out where he has options.
Giants have been keeping the ball on the ground. Third down and 2, and they do it again. And Hampton, with his second effort, close to the sticks. See where they spot the ball.
Boy, James Willis just put a stick on him. But what he didn't do was wrap his arms. I think when I look at this league, I think what I've seen more of now is guys who forget to wrap their arms. They'll come up and they are coming in 100 miles an hour, and they'll get the hit, but they just forget. Watch number here, number 50 right here. They just forget to wrap their arms. Now you see it. That's a nice read. Scrape to the hole, attack. See how he didn't wrap his arms? Really, that's a testament to Hampton. Hampton give the second effort, hit instinctively, spun back inside.
And measuring for the first down, and the Giants have it. Meanwhile, the Eagles have made changes on the defensive line up front. Ronnie Dixon and Hollis Thomas have replaced Rhett Hall and Andy Harmon, the 2 tackles, and that was the plan for Ray Rhodes today, was to go deep into his defensive line.
Yeah, well, it's also chess, because now you're going to start pounding people. Okay, now we're going to put some anchors and drop them inside. Hollis Thomas is over 300 pounds, and he's barely 6 foot.
All of a sudden, that defensive line has got bigger. First and 10 at the 30.
Oh, Bishop is going to jump outside. He's a little bit worried about the speed. Greg Bishop as a player, knows his limitations. Like Clint Eastwood says, a man's got to know his limitations.
False start. Number 78 on the offense. 5 yards, still first down.
And one of his limitations is at the tackle position, speed to the top side. And so there's speed today. Mike Mamula has the speed to the top side, and he also understands how to set it up. He faked inside to give him that little half step.
Mamula already with a sack on Dave Brown. First down and 15 following the penalty. And on the delay, here is Rodney Hampton. Very conservative play calling so far by Dan Reeves, a pickup of 2. William Thomas making the tackle. Giants have had the ball control edge in the first quarter with less than 7.5 minutes remaining. That's their drive thus far, 6 plays. But this game remains scoreless.
Right, I mean, it's predictable. There's Emmett Thomas, the defensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles. Speaking with him prior to the game, he knew this. This was a scenario that he expected and one that he anticipated. So when you know that, you can also counter it.
Tyrone Wheatley has come into the Giant backfield, number 28, on 2nd and 13. Brown flips it to Wheatley, and all over him was William Thomas. Wheatley couldn't get much room, and right now for McDonald's game break, let's return to James Brown at our Fox Television Center.
All right, Dick, those who were watching the Washington-New England game, this 24-yard field goal by Scott Blanton put the Redskins up by the score of 27-22 with less than a minute to go. New England awaiting the kickoff. Let's take you back to Dick Stockton and Matt Miller.
And that would be a huge victory for the Washington Redskins.
Yeah, it really would. I mean, that put them up at 5-1 and a lot more confidence.
3rd down and 13 on the 33 of the Eagles. Brown rolling out to his left, and the pass is caught by Chris Callaway short of the first down by about 3 yards, and that will set up a 4th down, and the Giants will attempt a field goal. Bobby Taylor was covering Callaway on the play.
Well, you know, they wanted to try to stay away, the New York Giants wanted to try to stay away from having to throw it all the time because the Eagles have 2 really good young corners. Troy Vincent and Bobby Taylor are playing well together now, and they're going to continue to get better.
Brad Daloiso will attempt a field goal of about 40 yards. Daloiso has missed only 1 this year, and there you see the doors are open.
Yeah, the doors are open. That's the fabled thing with the Giants Stadium with the wind.
And the kick is good. Brad Daloiso's field goal, it's listed as 39 yards, gives the Giants a 3-0 lead. You got to watch those doors at either end being open or closed.
Yeah, always. I mean, it's been talked about so much here in Giant Stadium, and they've said that it's been an advantage for the New York Giants. And the story goes like this: when the Giants are kicking, those doors are closed, and so that gives the advantage with the wind. When the Giants' opponents are kicking, those doors mysteriously open up, and then you get all kinds of swirling winds down on the field. I spoke with Red Cashin prior to the game about that, and he said he would go to the groundskeeper and say, whatever you do, whatever that is, you just be consistent. He said, well, the fire marshal told me this. And Red said, look, I don't care what the fire marshal said. If he said keep him down all game long. If he says keep him up all game long.
So we saw them open, and there must have been to someone's advantage for the Giants, as the winds can play tricks here, especially when you get into November and December.
It's funny, you talk to Red Cashin, who's going to be retiring after this year, after 25 years, who I still think is one of the best referees in the game. But he says, you know, you can't teach that. You have to know your stadium. You have to know your people. And he says, you don't go to a seminar and say, and don't forget Giant Stadium, those doors open up.
Brad Daloiso will kick off, and Derek Witherspoon and Mark Say are back deep. The Giants leading 3-0, and Witherspoon, who leads the NFL in kickoff returns, brings it out from the yard in the end zone, and a good return by Witherspoon beyond the 20-yard line. Well, following our football game today, it's Game 4 of the NLCS. Chipper Jones will lead the Atlanta Braves. And the Braves are under the gun a little bit. Ron Gant, the former Brave, now with the St. Louis Cardinals with a hot game last night. Our coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern as the road to the World Series continues on Fox. After an opening victory by the Braves, the Cardinals have won the last 2, and Denny Nagel gets the call today from Bobby Cox against Andy Bennis, Tony La Russa's selection. And if Nagel can keep Atlanta alive, they've got the big three for the rest of the series if necessary. Keith Elias shaken up for the Giants.
I think when I watch that St. Louis team, and Brian Jordan, I'd like to put him at free safety. I think I'd like to take Gant and put him at strong. I think both of them would do pretty well.
Meanwhile, they're otherwise occupied.
Yeah, well, Elias looks like he's going to shake that thing off and hop up.
He was a Princeton Tiger who earned a role with the Giants a couple of years ago.
Yeah, spoke with him yesterday talking about special teams. He's talking to the special teams coach. He's saying, you know, I was running down and this happened and I was right, wasn't I? And he looked over at me and I said, hey, anytime you have to think on special teams, you're in trouble.
Well, this is not good news for Elias, who has to be helped off the field.
A good kid, good smart kid, was a third down back, and he's added a lot. And the biggest thing is he's a great example. I mean, he has his skills, but then on top of it, he goes out and shows you how to get it done. And he'll play the special teams, and he'll also come in and do whatever you ask him.
The Eagles trailing the Giants 3-0. Have a first down on their 21. Detmer looking one way and completes the pass to Chris T. Jones.
You know, we said about how long it's been for Ty Detmer before he started a football game. Only Jeff Hostetler, 75, only 6 behind of the active quarterbacks in this league, had to wait longer. Remember, the last game he started was the Holiday Bowl against Texas A&M.
Frank Reich, who started for the Jets today, and there you see walking off is Irving Fryer, who made that 8-yard reception, bringing up second down and 2, the 33-year-old veteran. Here is Ricky Waters, and Waters carries and has an Eagle first down. Jesse Armstead making the tackle.
You know, and you look at Ty Detmer and you say, okay, he hasn't started for 5 years. Now, where does that put you? Well, I think that's a good question, because he was apprehensive and he didn't know what to expect. He said he had 2 concerns. One was feeling the pocket and getting a feel for that again. And there's passing lanes that you have to get aware of and who blocks which way. And then the other thing was getting comfortable. He knows this offense, but just running it. He hasn't been there for such a long time. The audibles, he wanted to make sure they came back quick.
Mark Say in motion on first down from the 32. The Eagles with their first down of the game. Detmer has no one to throw to and dives over Felipe Sparks.
But you see what he did there, Dick? He got back in the pocket, looked to his left, looked to the middle. He saw the whole field. I mean, that's got to answer a question for him. I want you to watch Detmer when he goes back. And watch his head. Looks over there, now to the middle, now to the right. Okay, it's not there. Now you take off and buy some time. And all this is good that you're seeing the whole field. And this is going to continue to get better. See his eyes? Looking downfield, running to throw. I just think he's rusty. He's going to dust all that stuff off. If he can take a hit, he's going to be okay.
Gain of 4 yards. Second down and 6. Here is Ricky Waters. Nothing doing. And the Giant defense closes in the middle, led by Robert Harris. That'll bring up third down for the Eagles as we get to 3 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Brad Daloiso's field goal, 39 yards out, giving the Giants a 3-0 lead.
No, I think the New York Giants are saying, all right, Detmer, we're going to make you beat us because we know what Ricky Waters is, and he's killed us the last few games. So we're going to take Waters away and make Detmer have to beat us.
Mark Ingram, the former Giant, in the game at wide receiver, split to the left on 3rd and 5. Detmer has time and going to Chris T. Jones. Incomplete. Good coverage by Felipe Sparks, who starred against the Vikings, and that'll bring up 4th down. Welcome to Giant Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Dick Stockton and Matt Millen. We have 3 minutes and 9 seconds remaining in the first quarter. The Giants, on a Daloiso field goal, lead the Eagles by a score of 3-0. The Giant defense has held for the second time, and Tom Hutton will kick it away. And Amani Toomer back deep for the Giants. And not a good kick by Hutton as he shanked it. And the Giants, for the 3rd time in this first quarter will have solid field position. They've controlled the ball so far.
I'll tell you, children, how it was before the skies were freed to fly somewhere you needed.